Greetings traders, this is Mohan here, and today I have a demonstration of where I'm going to show you the exact Boomerang day trader setups to use. There's only two of them and one modification of the first one, so it's very easy to learn, and I'm going to show you right here on this exact chart. First of all, let me switch over here to a pointer, because all I'm going to be showing you is how the setups come in and how they work. First of all, you have a buy channel or a sell channel that opens up. That's the beginning of being alerted for a trade to come in. In the Boomerang system, just ignoring for now these down here, these bias indicators, all we're looking at is these two bands here. This is the dynamic trend band number 1, and the thicker one is the dynamic trend band number 2. Running through that, you have this cobra line here, which changes colors a little more sensitively than these two. And then you have this very thin dash line, which is called the trade signal line. The way it works, it's so simple to understand, is that when a buy channel opens up, and of course this is instantly alarmed and marked on the chart, so you'll know that, all we're doing in the first trade setup, which is a thrust, what's known as a momentum blast. Technically, that's what Boomerang trades are called, momentum blasts. We're looking for the dynamic trend bands to be in one of three conditions. Either, first of all, after a buy channel opens up, you have to have the dynamic trend band number 1 on the buy side to be this bluish color. I'll just call it blue for now to make it simple. And that dynamic trend band number 1 has to have the blue color for a buy trade or the reddish color for a sell trade. And we want to see one of three things. Either there's a spread between the dynamic trend bands of 1.5 or less, which you can see right here. This little tight section here is what I call a spread. As long as that's 1.5 or less, then you are permissioned by the Boomerang system to take the next pullback to the signal line, which occurs right here, and it's marked and alarmed with these blue dots. I'm going to spread this out a little bit here so we can see it even better. Now what we're doing is we're going to be scalping for a 3-point move on the Boomerang trades. That's the rule. We're going to use a 5-point stop. So now notice when this spread here is 1.5 or less, that is then a signal to go long at a pullback to the signal line, either this one or this one here, and the prices shoot straight up and hand you instantly 3 points. Now keep in mind, if you're just trading a small account with like $5,000 to $7,000, which is a small futures trading account, and you're trading 4 NASDAQ contracts, I'm demonstrating this here on the mini NASDAQ, which is one of the U.S. stock indexes. 4 contracts trading at $20 a point on 4 contracts is going to make you, after commission, about $230. So that's like an instant $230 there. You'll see in the next little sequence that I'm going to show you how there were substantial winning trades with the Boomerang system. Now I want to show you that's the first trade setup, and it has to have one of those three conditions. They're either within 1.5, they're either matching the same color, or there's actually been a crossover. So do you understand that? It's very simple. Either this. The main idea is we're looking for the proven thrust coming from a crossover of the dynamic trend bands. It's a proven approach to the markets here. So once you get this here, just move this over here because I want to show you a couple other things. We have two setups. We have the initial thrust setups on the dynamic trend bands crossing over. And the second type of trade is called the second level trade, and that's an example here where the market it runs up, in the case of buy trade, attempts to return to the other side. You know, the candles turn red. It attempts to make a counter move, but you do not see the dynamic trend band number 1 cross over the DTB number 2, nor does the price effect change the color of the dynamic trend band number 2. What that does is then permissions you to take a second level trade if it sets up. You have to have this arrow print. You have to have this counter arrow and some movement of the candles in that direction. It doesn't have to be a big move. It can be a one candle move or a very small move. But as long as you have this arrow print, the next candle that, or the next arrow that prints on the same continuation side, in this case a buy side, that fires off. You can take the next pullback to the signal line. And again, the dynamic trend bands are matching, so that's another one of our rules and signals for taking that pullback. So there they come here, and they shoot up 3 points. Did you catch that? Let me show you again on this opposite side here. Now here's the dynamic trend band. Right here, you got to, nothing happens until you see the new buy or sell channel open, which is right here. You can see that the dynamic trend bands have already crossed over here. So that immediately permissions the system and permissions you as an individual trader to take a pullback to the signal line here, which is this yellow dot, and instantly you get 3 points gain on that trade. Do you see that? We had to wait for the dynamic trend band to change colors, which occurred right in this candle. And if you miss that, you could have taken this one too, which has the full color or the full crossover. And on this one, they're matching completely. But you can take it as soon as you get a 1.5 spread here with the dynamic trend band number 1 changing color. So that's it. That's pretty simple, isn't it? That's the only 2 rules. The first level trade, the momentum blast, the first one based on the crossover, the dynamic trend band, the trend bands with those 3 simple conditions. And then, of course, the pullback, the signal line, that's our standard entry point. 5-point stop, 3-point gain. Now here's another example after the market ran down of a second level trade. Do you see this? I'm going to just switch over to my crossover hairs real quick because it'll show you exactly what happened. There was a counter move which didn't even change the dynamic trend band number 1 here. Certainly failed to change any condition of the dynamic trend band number 2. A new sell arrow came in and a pullback to the signal line right here at 10.25, and they immediately dropped down in this next candle right here to 5.25. So there was a 5-point move there. We're just going to capture 3 points. You see that? So right within this little block of trading action, I wanted to use this to demonstrate those 2 types of trades to you. Now, we have, as of about 4 months ago, officially instituted what's called a modification of the original thrust move on the dynamic trend bands crossing over. Now, most of the time, when this spread gets thin and these get close, you're going to get a pullback to the signal line and be able to get in. In some cases, the prices may take off. Like in this case, say they ran up here before there were any pullbacks to the signal line. The modification rule works in the sense that this is the rule for it. If that happens and prices take off without having a pullback signal line, yet right at the exact point of the crossover, within 2 to 3, maybe 4 candles, the idea is as close as possible, when an actual crossover occurs with the matching colors on the DTBs and an actual crossover which occurred right here, and you didn't get an entry on that original thrust to the upside here, you can take a pullback to the Cobra, which is right here at this Cobra line, is at 401.2 even, and it only pulled 2 points against us, normal for trading, 412, and then you get that thrust up. So those are the 3 methods for trade, or 2 actual trade setups only for Boomerang Day Trader, and this 1 modification method for using it if in a case like this the prices ran up and you did not get that. Now you can see over here that did not occur. The prices ran down quickly, gave us a pullback signal line, and accomplished that goal of getting in the trade. So right within this short area here, you can see a 3-point gain here, the second level trade here for 3 points, the counter move to the downside for 3 points, the second level trade here after the failure of the counter move. So a total within that very short period of approximately an hour, you had 4 winning trades or 12 points, which would total, if, like I said, in that what I call a blue-collar working trader account, that would have made you a net of approximately $900, $920 after commission. So that's a darn good paycheck for an hour of trading. So thanks for joining with me today and for attending this brief webinar here on the 2 methods of trading with the Boomerang Day Trader. And if you want to learn more, just go to boomerangtrader.com.